Hiya Matt, thanks for the footage. We finally got there. We managed to download it without it being scrambled. Now, saying you're starting off pretty much a blank canvas, you've not been playing golf too long, you're doing a pretty good job of the basics here. What I'd like to do first of all is just sort of go over your setup and a few little alterations that I'd like to see you make. What I've done is I've borne a comparison down at the bottom with Charlie Wee. Charlie Wee's a very efficient swinger of the golf club, and what I mean by that is there's not many moving parts. It's a good model for a beginning golfer to try and emulate. So if we take a little look first of all at your setup, things that I like first of all here are that the feet are turned out slightly. We prescribe turning the feet out around about 20 degrees, maybe even a little bit more, like you see here with Charlie down at the bottom, so that's good. You got the weight forward slightly. Now, having the weight forward, so we put a line there down from the upper centre of gravity, your sternum, that makes it quite easy for you to hit the ground in front of the ball every time, and that's what a good golfer's trying to do. If we watch Charlie here as he comes to impact, I just fast forward him here, the weight continues to move forward in the downswing, and the player hits the ground after the golf ball. So you can see the club hits the ball, then hits the ground. The positioning of your body weight is going to directly affect where the club hits the ground. So if the weight is forward, we're going to hit the ground in the front of the ball, so we're going to hit the ball and the turf, and that's going to make it easy to satisfy criteria number one for any beginning golfer, and that is hitting the ball solidly time after time. So we're trying to achieve solid contact. So the feet are flared out nicely, the weight's forward nicely. What I'd like to see you do here from down the line is just give yourself a little bit more room. You can see that Charlie's bent forward a little bit more with his upper body. There's a little bit more of a tilt forward with the hips, and the arms are hanging a little bit more out in front of his shoulders, just a fraction, rather than what we see here where the hands are hanging almost vertically. There's not a lot of tilt forward in the hips, and as a result there's not a lot of tilt forward in the upper body. So that sort of position, whilst okay and would chip the ball forward nicely, is not a great generator of power, and it doesn't help in terms of getting the arms in during the backswing and keeping them in during the downswing, something that's essential for good golf. Overall, pretty good movement, not bad at all for someone who's just starting. Just get rid of these lines for you. And what I've done here is I've put to the side on the bottom right a 10-word template that we use for beginning golfers. It's a really nice starting point and provides a good blueprint for you as a beginner to relate all your swing movements to, so you can summarise the swing in 10 words. All good players have the weight forward. We'll look at Charlie Wee here at impact, put a little line up the left hand side from the left heel. The weight slightly forward at setup, as we've already discussed, and then it continues to move forward during the downswing. At no point does the weight move back, so the weight stays forward. The lead shoulder, the left shoulder in our case, works down. Just run that through from face on. So we've got the weight forward, we've got the left shoulder working down. As a result of the weight being forward and the left shoulder working down, that gets the arms working in. So we've got the weight forward, left shoulder down, arms in. Too many golfers try and swing the club back in a straight line, not taking advantage of the power of a circle. Think in terms of kicking a football. If you wanted to kick a football as far as you could, you'd swing in a slight arc. You wouldn't swing straight back and through. So we've got weight forward, shoulder down, arms in. We talk next about arms straight. Now on the way back, the right arm will fold, but what we're talking about here is more in the through swing. Good players keep the arms straight. Because the weight has stayed forward, there's very little chance of this player hitting the ground behind the ball. What we see a lot with beginning golfers are the elbows flexing at that point. If you get a chance to video some of your colleagues whilst playing golf, you'll see that with quite a lot of them there's a flexing of the elbows on the way through. The reason players do that is to prevent the club digging in the ground, because the weight has moved back either during the backswing or during the downswing. Now, flexing the elbows also leads to the club sliding across the ball and can manifest itself in a slice. So we've got weight forward, shoulder down, arms in, and then the tucking of the hips. You can see here in Charlie's follow through, the hips work under the torso. Looking at it from face on, so we get this tucked look in the finish. And again, a lot of players achieve that look by moving the weight back. We're not going to do that. We're going to move the hips forward or tuck the hips underneath to produce this sort of tucked look in the finish. So relate that to things that you do during the golf swing with yourself. I'd like to change your setup just a fraction as well. I'd widen the stance. So I'd widen the stance maybe out to maybe here, so the inside of the right foot is just outside the shoulder, and I would reach for the ball just a fraction more, tilting forward with the upper body, producing a little bit more hip slant at setup. So a little bit wider and a little bit further away. We've already got the weight forward, which is good. Let's just see if it stays forward during the golf swing. I appreciate there's no ball here, but it still gives us a good idea. Weight moves back a little bit, but the wider stance and the idea of keeping the weight forward is going to help with that. Weight continues to move forward. That's really good. Don't change that at all. So we've still got the weight forward. Does the shoulder work down? I would say the left shoulder works across in the early part of the swing. Just put a line on there. Left shoulder tends to work across too much, which is moving your weight away from your target. And if we watch what happens to Charlie's, get rid of the other lines. Charlie's shoulder is going to work down more. As the left shoulder works down more, you can see that the left knee stays out in front of him and the weight doesn't translate away from the target. So first area of those 10 words that you need to focus on is let his shoulder down. So that will be key thought number 1 for you. So you've widened the stance, you've given yourself a little bit more room. What you're going to do now is just work the shoulder down a fraction more. On the way back, the next pieces are the arms coming in. Well, the arms do come in and they stay in. You do a pretty good job of that as well. Are the arms staying straight? Tell more from face on. Because of the nice weight shift, you can see there that the arms do stay straight. One of the things you appear to do, it's hard to say with the camera footage that we've got here, but there's a tendency to throw the club head at the ball at the bottom. So the club head comes in before the handle. If you watch good players coming through impact, the thing that you notice is that the handle gets there before the club head. So there is no throwing of the club head at impact. The shaft leans forward ever so slightly. And that would be one little addition to this 10-word template for you. I would add another 2 words, handle forward. Do you tuck the hips? Well, if we run you through to the finish, you tuck the hips nicely, so that's all really good. So really, Matt, what you need to focus on are, first of all, widening the stance just a fraction, keeping the weight forward, reaching out with the arms a little bit more. So that's all setup related. During the swing, work the left shoulder down more. So early part of the swing, from say setup to waist level, the key emphasis needs to be on working the left shoulder down, like we see here with Charlie, as opposed to working the shoulder across. And then the other point to note is to lead with the handle. So get the handle of the club coming through impact first, again, as we see here with Charlie. So just one more time to summarise: widen the stance, Give yourself a little bit more room so that you're bent over a little bit more from the hips. Get the left shoulder working down and get the handle leading the golf club through impact. If you go on Google Images, you get a little bit of spare time. I know you guys are busy, but if you get a little bit of spare time, go on Google Images, get up golfers at impact, and notice that with the good players, the handle is always in front of the club head at impact. If you want to analyse good golfers on the way back, look at them at about chest height, so when the left arm's parallel with the floor in the backswing, and notice that the left shoulder has worked down rather than just across. Good luck with it. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. Have a great Christmas. Stay safe. And everyone back home appreciates the job you guys do for us. Well done.